So click got it, and then we're ready to party.
Found it.
Okay, so
Okay.
I'm going to mute everybody and also spotlight myself. So now I should be the main screen, so you can see. And alrighty. So as we do our opening meditation, see if you generally recall the basics. So it's not just close your eyes and sit there. There's a little bit of effort and work at first, which is checking pelvic position in relationship to it's basically the foundation of the building. So if you're tilted back in the pelvis, the spine will naturally sort of be collapsed and rounded. Most of the time, that's kind of what's happening. Sometimes we're too forceful in our forward tilt, so we're jamming our back. But there's this happy little place where the sits bones plug right in. And then also notice this is something that's happening for a lot of people, usually in combination. Pelvic tilt with chin up like that. So when you tilt to here, you also then want to drop chin and lengthen that space of the back of the neck. So that you feel almost like a little, you could say a little tug, a little pull in two directions. The tail is going downish and the base of skull going upish. So you create this space and length. Then also balancing this tip-top crown of the head above the perineum, or this floor of the pelvis. So this place right in between the legs there, where the legs meet, that's the hui yin, or the yin meeting point, the negative end of the battery. This is the positive end of the battery. So lining those points. And then once you line those points and create that open backside, eyes gently close, breathe. And on a skin and muscle and tissue level, as well as a nervous system level and a brain relationship to the body through nervous system level, softness. So especially when you have good integrity of structure, then your softness can be very beneficial. It opens up room, real estate inside. To assist with that further, breathing. Long, smooth inhale, holding at the top. Long, smooth exhale, gentle holding at the bottom. Just another 6, 7 breaths. Think of the word coherence, or cohesion. So the many layers that make you up, from material and physical to liquid and fluid to subtle electrical to perhaps even more subtle than electrical, which is quite subtle. You could think of your chi as in that direction of subtlety. So less subtle, the least subtle is the matter. And then a little more subtle is liquid, chemistry, chemical, electrical, and then chi. And consider the idea that there's also consciousness itself, or what the Chinese call the yi, the will, the direction of consciousness. And the saying is Yi Dao Qi Dao, or where the will goes or directs, the Qi follows. So as we begin our movement, you want to eventually have it feel like you're not moving your mechanical body, but you're actually moving from the level of the Qi. So Yi Dao Qi Dao, sliding hands forward, just like an intent to do it, letting the Qi go and the body, of course, follows. And then sliding hands back, pulling elbows back, shoulder blades back, looking up. So do this 3 more times and have there be kind of an unbroken state of this mind directing the subtlest level of you. That's where the impetus for these movements is happening. So think of just considering that idea. So now you're practicing your Tai Chi and Qigong with everything you're doing, because it's not about mechanics. It's not about meat and bones. It's about the mind directing life force. So it needs to be soft and subtle, but yet thorough. Make your way back to the neutral in the middle. Go right into your rotations. Left hand forward, right hand elbow back, softly turning. And turning back to center, softly turning. So the moment you feel yourself starting to effort and really crank it, notice it just soften. Just keep moving through. So you're extending one arm and drawing the other back. Just kind of threading through these movements. Simple, subtle gestures can yet still be very powerful. Back to the middle. Softly hang the arms. Just lean. And rise. Lean. And rise. Side to side. Loose. Soft, relaxed. Notice you can execute all this without any of that effort. Come back to middle. Now we're going to add one right here where the hands come up through this unique pathway here, like you're trying to just tickle your own armpit there, right? So they just come up right through here and then down. Again, up, just right up underneath. And notice that can be done with very little effort. Now notice that the hands can go from here. They stay very relaxed. They just go forward. Then they go down. They come back a little bit. So they stay a little behind as they come up and under that armpit. Like you're, again, trying to tickle your own armpit and then just let them wheel out. Wheel out. Then reverse that wheel. So the hands are coming up in front. They just get just underneath the armpit height and draw back as if you're going to go tickle your own armpit, and you go a little behind and then down. Forward, draw, in and under and behind. So the shoulder has to internally rotate a little right there. And then you like thread like a snake, kind of slithering down under, back, down and through. Now from here, one hand comes up. Then as that hand's going down, the other hand comes up. And switch. And just notice this, again, can be executed so loose, so easy, light. Now, the forward circle. So this high hand is going to go forward. This low hand is going to come back at the same time. So one forward, one back. Then as this high hand starts going down, this back hand comes up under the armpit, just like we worked on. And then wheel. Wheel. And notice they are happening simultaneously, constantly and simultaneous. So it's not, at no point are you out of connection to what's happening in one of the other arms, but they're just happening alternate from each other. Now pause here with one hand high, start to bring that high hand under the armpit as the other hand comes a little forward. So they're still high and low. And then as that one hand comes up, the other hand goes down. And then this high hand goes under the armpit, like you're trying to tickle your own armpit under as that other hand comes forward, and we wheel. So this is what we're going to do when we're standing in a moment, but this is the arm work. And when we're standing, we're going to be shifting into one leg, into the other leg, right? While we're doing left, right, wheel. And arms down. Now bring both hands up like we did before. Then when you press down, you let the heel of the hand lead. Press down. Then soften that, and it comes up with this loose wrist, and then heel of the hand. Loose. Heel of hand. Loose. Heel of hand. Now left hand only, up. As it presses down, heel of hand, right hand rise. Left. Right. So one is pressing through heel of hand, the other is soft and loose. And then they switch. One is pressing, the other soft and loose. That's left, right, pressing palm. And again, if I turn sideways, notice how close this hand is to my body the whole time. So that's important, that my hand is not traveling way out here now. It's not up and down out here. It's right next to the torso. Right here. And both hands down. Shogun. And legs. Let's scoot back a little bit. Just a couple chamber push, just to get the gears working and moving. So same leg, just repeat about 5 of them. Chamber, push, chamber, push, and switch. Push, chamber, push. Just getting the juices pumping. Right? The body's got these sort of spring-loaded pumps. We want to keep that really open and free. Now, foot and ankle, point and flex. Invert, evert. Circles. Other way, circles. And other leg, point and flex, invert, evert, that little waggle of the foot, and circles, reverse circles. and scoot forward. Swivel steps. Start left leg, toe lifts, we turn open. Then lift the heel a little bit, turn the knee in, the heel out, close. Then toe out, knee out, we're a little wider. Heel out, knee in, and finally open. So feel that space here through the quad. And then close, toe in, knee in, heel in, knee out, toe in, knee in, heel in, knee out, and neutral. Out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in. And really cue in on this feeling of the leg sort of floating in a fluid matrix and the freedom for it to externally and internally rotate, right? And over time, that's maybe not how you feel today. Maybe you feel a lot of stretching, a lot of tension. But over time, that's this state of the hip that's like empty fluid, and it allows for a lot of great balance and walking and all kinds of stuff. So we want that hydraulic hip. So let's go ahead and open the other leg and then heel out, knee in. So we're creating space. We're cultivating room, real estate inside this relationship between leg and hip. Walk it back in. Again, out, hold, and in. And again, this little, warm up of the legs is something I do something like this in my own way every day, multiple times a day, often because of just congestion that builds up and whatnot. Just keeping at bay this rigidity. Let's double it up, open. Then knees in, heels out, toes out, knees out, and then bring it in. 1, 2, 3. Open. 1, 2, 3. Close. 1, 2, and 3. Neutral. Forward fold. Hinge. Now remember this addition here. So we're folding at the hips, and then once we're down, this swivel around on the palms of the hands on the knees. So you wring out the shoulders and then sit back. Vertical. Fold, slide, and then swivel on the hands. Get that internal rotation. And then back up. One more. And let's do the hip opening version of that. The dragon takes a bow, step, step. The quad, the hips here, fold from there. But as you do, turn those hands to this dragon position and keep them nice and stable. And then not only from the hips, but also the rib cage and the head, just kind of gently bowing it in between there. And then sitting up. Couple times. Dragon and bow. And up. And 2 more. Just wringing out, flossing these spaces in the body that tend to get, since we don't move them, they just get rigid, they get rusty, they get adhesions. And we're up. Bring legs closer together. Shogun, or closing gesture. That'll close our joint mobilization and kind of basic warm up in the chair. All right, standing and sitting. Slide the feet back a little bit. Arms hang super loose, right? The tendency for people to think they're going to use their arms to get them up. You can do it. It's just it doesn't train the right behaviors. So loose, empty, as if you don't have arms. Fold at the crease of the hips. Your goal is to get shoulders and head forward of the ankles. Oh, and then it's easy as pie to stand up. Same thing when sitting down. Your first thing is to create butt behind the ankles, shoulders, and head in front. And then you sink right down the middle being the shins with the butt on one end and the arms and shoulders and head on the other end, and then sit back. So this is the square version of this where we really make it obvious, right? Eventually that has a rounder, more natural feel, but those same components are there. The butt behind, the shoulders in front, the sink, and down. So if you want, now try the more rounded version where you're not folding all the way, you're only folding the amount necessary. And then it's as if your crown is just being drawn up to the sky. Same thing on the way down. You only go back the amount necessary to then sink the tush and land. And just feel how easy that can be, right? Maybe some of you feel it today, that it's just, oh, easy. All right. Now, that rounded version, let's keep that in mind when we do the squat. So we're just going back the amount with the tail needed to open this space here in this, what they call the courtyard, right here inside the space that you then just sink through. Don't sit in your chair, just squat and then rise. Tush goes back, squat, and rise. Couple more. Notice again, this can be done with hydraulics or with the chi, just the mind and the intent directing the chi to say, okay, make some room, okay, slither on down, slide on up, buttery, smooth, relax. Now stay standing, tip a little bit to the toes. Because there's more foot in front of the ankle, that's the reason you can create this little seemingly tilted position, but there's not that same amount back behind us. So when we tilt to our heels, we don't tip back from up here. It's this middle moving back to the point where we're a little bit in our heels, right? Then forward, where there is a little bit of room for tipping, and then back. And then forward, let the arms now like pendulums just sweep a little bit. Rock back, they sweep back. Sweep. 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 Now, as you sweep back, stay backish in the heels, arms just float out and open. Feel the opening coming from this shoulder well, this space here. Open out through fingertips. Then tip to the toes, the hands do a round reach out into space, right? Out about mouth height. Rock back to the heels, that will induce hands to come back past the mouth. Rock to the middle of the feet as your hands come down to the middle, belly button height. Then that Tai Chi squat. The tail sneaks back, the hands just slide down as you sink. Push through the earth, rise to standing and middle. Rock back, arms circle sweep up. Rock forward, it carries out and casts the fishing line out. Rock back, the soft return. Rock to the middle as your hands find the middle. Tail sneaks back and you sink through. Standing up. Water polishing stone. Back. Forward. Back. Middle. Through. Two more. Back. Forward. Back. Middle. Through. Each round, coming back to middle, each round, if you practice this in a formal setting, you might do it 15, 20 times. Each round you're working on less effort, more ease, realizing you can make this whole interesting movement happen using only mind and chi. So it's kind of like levitation. It's like this buoyancy that you're riding through. And so initially you have to use some force to make the movement, but the more you do it, the more you make space, and then you can move through those spaces. Shogun, or closing gesture, wings, roll palms up and over, settle to the middle, pausing here for just a moment. Let everything come to stillness, the mind, like that cohesion or coherence, your whole being. Hands come down. Now remember that first exercise we did where one hand rises. Now as this hand rises, we put the weight through the other leg and we softly lean that way and softly reach that right arm more down. Then we're going to switch. So as we change the weight, left arm softens long, right arm floats up very like a marionette. And this foot is almost empty. Really feel that change and then change back. So doing this exercise while sitting did something, but notice that now you're doing this with your whole body, and there's this mechanism that we're trying to reveal and stimulate. This interior mechanism that Tai Chi is all about, which is the hips, the low back spine, and also the middle belly area, all that working together so that when we're changing weight, it's this internal experience rather than a very stiff body trying to move like this, for instance, right? With no internal mechanism. So you're allowing space for that internal mechanism. Now that same thing applies, but now we add the wheel. So top hand goes forward somewhat, bottom hand comes back under somewhat. And then as that top hand goes down, bottom hand comes up the back a little bit, under the armpit, and then it goes out as the other hand comes under, and we're wheeling, but kind of walking in place. And you just keep in mind the idea that the arm that's going down, that's the leg you want to be. So now this one up here is empty. So then as it comes down, I'm going into that leg. And then I'm going into that leg. Left and right wheel. So remember that hand has to come up the back. So Karen, notice that this hand is doing this up and into the armpit and then going around the circle. And as this is going around that circle, this hand has to be doing that thing, right? And then, so that's the idea of it being literally a wheel. A wheel has a back side and front side, a top side, a bottom side, and we're wheeling. Now reverse the arms, but same concept applies. So you go under the armpit, out in front, and then down the back, up the front as you go into that leg. Tuck it under the armpit and then down, up. Get the wheel. So Tony, I'm going the other way now with it. So come down the back and under to the front as this one goes under and behind you. And then that hand goes down as this one comes up. Yeah. And then down. Let's reverse again. So whatever circle you're making, make the opposite. So Tony, reverse that one now. Reverse it. Bring that top hand back. Top hand back. And reverse one more. So getting those wheels free to spin in both directions. And then finally, one hand high, soft, relaxed wrist. As you press the heel of that hand down, the other hand floats up and go obviously into that leg. And then heel of hand, other hand rise. Heel of hand. Heel of hand. And again, like I pointed out before, look where my hand is related to my body, Sheila. See how close it is? It's just rising and falling right next to me. Yes. And then pressing down right next to you. That one right next to you. There you go. Good. Up and down. Right next to you. Last one. Hands down. Shogun. So that internal mechanism kick-started. Fingertips touch. Extend the arms forward. Bring the hands up around throat, mouth, just this upper chamber. Fingertips are touching. Open the hands away from each other. Out. Bring them back together. Open. Close. Let the movement get all the way to the tips of the fingers. Open. Close. It's called opening and closing the three basin. The one addition to this is you go into your right leg when you open. So that will be that way for you guys. This is one of those where it looks opposite. And then go into your left leg when you close. Right leg. Beautiful. Left leg. Go to your right leg, which will be that way, Tony. Good. And then left leg, which will be that way. So it's one of those where it's just weird because I'm not doing my mirror imaging. Now bring the hands down in front of the belly and open, close, open, close. Same rule applies. Open and go to your right. So towards the right leg when you open, left leg when you close. So we're opening the middle basin. Close. Open. Close. Open. Close. Three more. Long, full, and then fully open. Finally, the lower basin, hands come right in front of the groin area. Now they swing out and upish. Close. Open. Close. Open to your right. So really be clear on that. Your right is that way. So when the hands open, go to your right leg. This is my right leg. And then go to your left leg. Your right leg. Your left leg. Right. Left. Last one. Shogun or closing. Settle here for a moment. Hands come down. Now, pendulums. Emphasis is on this down quality, down quality. Loose from here. Now, the arm that's back, empty that arm. Empty that leg, and then shift into that leg as you swing. And then in. Find that internal mechanism that's doing all of this. There's one pivot sort of in the middle of us that's both changing left to right leg as well as rotating and allowing for this swing. So there's one main kind of pivot area, control center, and the looser we are, we're finding that center from which all our movement comes. Loose, 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 and back to center. Then left hand to right hip, right hand around behind to touch other buttock. Switch, switch, switch. Let those swinging loose arms start to turn the rest of the body. Let it turn the vertebra and spine a little bit. Let it turn the pelvis on the leg bones. Let it even turn the leg bones and their relationship to the feet. Loose. And back. Middle. Shogun. I'm not sure if we've done this little series, but want to try it. So slightly tilt into your balls of feet and then lift up and down, bouncing. Arms hang. So if I come close, you can see this looseness creates this sort of swirling gesture in the arms like that, but I'm not doing it. I'm letting my arms be so loose that they do whatever is right. So bouncing, shaking loose those deep intrinsic tense points. Notice where you're gripping, where you're holding. Temper and dose the bouncing just right so that your body feels safe enough to release. Then open your legs away from each other and back in towards each other. So this is the thigh bones in and out, abducting, adducting. Once you understand that direction, then go in, out, like a shake. So it's in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Small little movements shaking. So they don't have to be big. I don't know if you can see my thighs do it, but it's in, out, in, out, in, out. So try to do that in whatever way you can. Shake that loose. Then one heel up, the other. Like you're running in place, but then do it in a way that shakes your booty cheeks and kind of fishtails your tailbone. Okay, so let's go over those once more. Shift into the balls of the feet, up, down, little bounce. Loose. Then at the bottom of the bounce, the in and out of the legs. Then the sort of running in place where it's just heel up and then other heel up as the one goes down. But you do that small enough and it creates this little like butt shake and back release, and it can be very pain relieving when we're feeling stuck, right? And then finally, upper body, arms float up, soft. One shoulder pushes forward, the other has to go back, and then other. So it's like a shimmy. And notice these are kind of floating in space, and it's really the torso turning. So see if you can create a little shimmy to loosen up the shoulders. And then ragdoll. So that's loose wrists, like you got some water on them and you're trying to get it off. So look at the range that I'm covering here. Like that. Then straight hands, straight forearm, palms down, up, down, up, down, up. Eventually fast. Loosens this space inside the forearms and the carpal tunnels and the wrists. So the upper body thing again. Shimmy. Ragdoll. forearms. One more through that whole sequence, bounce. In and out with the legs. Running in place with the legs, shaking the butt. Shoulders. Or the shimmy. Ragdoll. Forearms. And shogun, closing gesture. So think of what we're doing. We're doing some familiar stuff and some new stuff. And in your mind, have it that you're collecting modules that you can put together in different ways. That's what a Qigong form is. Tai Chi form is a little different. It's like not a module. It's like a thing to 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 a thing, all very novel. So that's why now when we do our Tai Chi, we're going to do sort of repetitive Tai Chi ABCs, rather than a complex Tai Chi form. So now we do rising, sinking, rising, sinking, rising, sinking. Last one, rising. Crane flaps wings, rise, flourish and let them sweep down. Again, rise, feel that roundness, and then that through the limbs, that looseness that allows that fluid movement. Last one. Now, from the wings, embracing moon. Left hand turns palm up. As that left elbow bends, the hand comes over. Sweep the right hand under towards each other. Away from each other and around. And then one over, one under, towards. Away and around. Around, towards. Last time out to the wings, down. Now, body weight shift to left leg a little, turn belly button a little left. Stay turned to the left as you start to shift to the right leg, and then turn the belly button that way. And then shift left, and then turn left. And again, these spacious and buoyant limbs, the arms floating out in space, now start to explore these natural movements, starting with bear washing paws. So the hand that is over here coming across is palm facing that way. So it's brush and sweep the leg. Then they turn around and it's brush and sweep. And notice that at first there's this version, everything's sort of together in a stiff way. But then as you loosen up, it starts to be loosely 1, 2. And then it's shift, turn 1, and this one's dragging behind. And that's fine. You want that loose, free quality in your limbs. Then that looseness becomes buoyancy, and that hand starts to go around a far side of a circle away from the body and comes in close. So now that becomes the bear swirls the stream. Right? So if I turn sideways, you can see that hand goes pretty far away, but it's not up. It's still low. And also notice that my Mingmen, my pivot here, isn't going with my hand. It's actually kind of staying put. So I'm finding space inside, in between my limbs, cultivating this courtyard. Then the bear snatches the fish. So that hand rises and sweeps across and falls into the water and rises and sweeps across somewhere around belly, chest, or shoulder height, whatever feels good. And that looseness, let it get to the end and then come around that circle. These are our Tai Chi basics. Now, turn it into the brush knee and push, which is as that left hand comes up, roll, fold. So now it's a more sophisticated weapon, you might say, than a big lumbering bear paw. Now this is a folded, loaded pivot that's ready to push, right? As this bottom hand brushes through. Then this exchange you want to get good at right there. And notice everything is still over here, including my body weight. And then now I'm over here. Rolls through. Let that exchange happen. And once you understand the choreography of it, then work on the points I was making earlier about, oh yeah, that central axis from crown to perineum down through the legs. That middle, that place where the navel goes back and meets that central axis, that point. This idea that you can be the intent directing the chi that then commands the body. But that requires softness. So softening the edges, yet still performing the gesture. Fingers are soft. Everything, there's space between every joint. Now, stay in the left leg. Right foot is empty. Bring it just a touch behind you with toes turned out a few degrees. Let the weight go through that right leg. Right hand, fingertips come rest on the water. Left foot steps out and touches the floor very lightly as you bend left elbow and just point up to the sky. Now from here, bring the left foot back, touching it to the floor with toes turned out, but no body weight and nothing's changed in the arms. Then as you shift, left hand comes down, right elbow bends, right foot touches. Step the foot back, nothing changes. Shift, everything changes. Step back, nothing changes. Shift, everything changes. Golden rooster stands on one leg. Shift. Change. Now stay on this side. Option one, just pick the foot up off the floor 1 millimeter and see if you can keep your balance. If that's achievable, maybe something like that. Touch, lift. And notice that generally nothing is changing here. I'm not leaning back. It's because this is actually empty and I'm keeping it empty and then just lifting in that liquid space of the hip that I was talking about earlier when we were doing swivel steps. That loose space, that open space. Now set that foot down, toes turned out. Shift and change everything. Touch the toe out in front, pause there for a moment, check your alignment, softness, everything. Option one is just to try to have the foot leave the ground. And then you can put it back down as needed. If the foot can leave the ground, then in that empty fluid matrix hip, back down, touch, empty. So let this standing leg be like a trunk of a tree, strong, connected to root. And this is as free as your arms. All right, last one, golden rooster. Then step that foot back, no body weight, change, option to go right into either level 2 with the foot off the floor or level 3 where you draw it up. Put that foot down, toes turned out, shift, and option 2 or 3. right? Empty foot or knee lift. Put it down empty, chain, rooster. Check the teacup. Nothing changes as the foot goes down. Everything changes as we switch. So make that the emphasis here, that you're putting your standing leg down or your lifted leg down. Nothing has changed. And then it's wow, together. Put the foot down, nothing changes. Everything changes. Last one. And set that foot down, wash your paws. Very chill. Very easy. Now, the next time you shift to your left leg, stay there long enough to let the right hand vapor up and become a cloud. Shift to the right leg, turn to the right. The cloud comes across, the bottom hand sweeps the leg. Then cloud rains down as the leg vapors up. They change places, and then it's shift and turn and cloud, lake, vapor and rain. Shift and turn, cloud, lake, vapor and rain. Finding that pivot, that biomechanism I was talking about that we've been trying to look for and cultivate, that place where when you relax, there's just one place that the mind has to command or control for all of everything we're trying to have happen together perfectly in concert, sort of the conductor point of the symphony. And it's a place of ease, absolute simplicity. Now, we've been making this our challenge posture for doing advanced Tai Chi. So this is simple Tai Chi. Let's turn this into our advanced Tai Chi pose here. Come back to the middle, Shogun for a moment, closing, and just settling everything. It's like a reset button. And again, notice where my hands go. Sheila, I noticed you for a second you were up here, but we get them down belly. Because again, that's kind of where that middle place is. It's middle, it's middle. Now, arms hang down. Let's move to the right side of your space. So go to the right side and let the weight go through your right leg. Step out, in, out, in. The key to this is a couple things. One is that I'm not going with my body and the leg. And also that I'm not going like this and just touching my toe and coming back. I'm sunk enough that I can actually step out and have my heel on the ground. Out, back, out, without letting your weight go. Notice if even an iota of it goes, even if it's just like a little bit. Notice that, and notice that none of it's going with mine, none. Now, stay with that leg out, change. This is full, this is empty. Change back, full empty. Change. Notice the heels don't come off the ground. Keep those feet nicely magnetically sealed to the earth and find the real estate in here. Next time you're in the left leg, stay. Bring right foot in, out. Same as the first thing we did, no weight change. And then perhaps the most important one, bring the foot in, keep it in, that internal biomechanism, change the weight to go through your right leg. So left foot is empty. And then change so it goes through the left. Change so it goes through the right. change so it goes to the left. So it's right here, right inside this space that we're just finding a down through the leg, down through the leg. Now, the next time you are in your right leg, stay, step out with the left. Shift. Once this leg becomes full leg, step in. Then do that internal change. Once the left leg is empty, step out with no weight. Change, step in. Internal mechanism change, step out. Change, step in. One more. In and out. 1, 2. Change, step in, stay close together, internal mechanism change, step out. Change, step in, internal mechanism change, out. Change, in, change, out. Change. Now, shift, turn, sweep left hand across the leg, vapor up, right hand in the leg. Shift to the left leg, turn to the left, cloud leg. As the vapor and rain happens, bring your right foot in. Internal mechanism change and turn. So now you should be in your right leg and you're turning. That left hand has to sweep across the leg, right? So we're here. This leg is empty. And as we change the hands, left foot steps out, but with no body weight. I didn't change. I didn't just fall that way. Now it's shift, turn, cloud leg. As the vapor and rain happens, step the right foot in. No weight. Weight goes through the right leg. Turn, cloud, lake. Vapor and rain. As that's happening, step left foot out empty. Then shift, turn, cloud, lake. As you vapor and rain, step in. Shift and turn, cloud, lake. Left foot should be empty. As you vapor rain, step out. Shift and turn. Let's change directions just by going vapor and rain, step in, step out, and we head the other way. Shift, turn, cloud, lake. As you vapor and rain, step in, keep the left foot empty. Shift and turn, cloud, lake. Right foot empty. As you vapor and rain, step it, keep it empty, and then shift and turn. Stepping in as you vapor rain, shift and turn. Stepping out as you vapor rain, shift and turn. In, shift and turn. Out. Shift and turn. Switch directions, go there and back again. As you vapor rain, in, out, shift and turn. Vapor rain, step in, shift and turn. Vapor rain, step out. Eventually it's a shift turn. It's one thing. So it's the turning that causes that change of leg. And then it's that turning causes change of leg, stepping in, turning. So we're finding that single pivot from which all movement can be controlled. Switch directions, go in and out. So this is our taste of advanced Tai Chi, and we're doing it in a repetitive way, which makes it achievable. Whereas if we were going to go right into another move and then another move and another move, right? But we're going to do more and more as we as you guys kind of stick around for these and we build our arsenal up, we do more and more of these advanced ones that we can then link together for like little mini forms, mini two-part moves, right? Little combos, you could say. All right. And then wash, wash, middle. Step yourself to the middle of your space. 3 sync chi wash organs, rocking back, forward, back, middle, through, middle, back, forward, back. It's like cleanses the palate, mental palate, nervous system palate, chi palate, muscle palate, all of it, just washing out whatever might have gotten stuck from what we did, as can happen. Shogun, wings, roll, elbow bend, fold. And then the mind, like a stone settling through a pond, hands coming down, representing that sinking of the attention to the belly. The belly is the bed of the pond. Settle here for a moment. It's called middle embrace. Shoulders sunk and soft, elbows hanging. Breath natural. Seal the practice. One hand over the belly button, other hand over that hand. Gesture of finishing. And then the Taoist bow. All righty, thank you. If there are questions or anything, happy to sit around and chat for a bit. I know many of you have places you gotta be, so you can just wave or whatever, and you can always email me any questions you have.
Thank you. See you next week.
Yeah. Any thoughts or questions, feel free to share. Karen, thought, idea, anyone?
Well, I had, after a pretty long record of not falling, about 3 days ago, I fell. I stumbled at Point Isabel, which is not a hard trail.
Yeah.
Just stopped paying attention, I guess, and was wearing my binoculars, so it went down. Just kind of went down mainly on my chest, on my breastbone, with the binoculars.
Wow.
So I'm trying to decide what I need to. Fortunately, I don't think I did anything to my DBS charger,
Yeah.
which is millimeters away. Anyway, it's kind
Well,
of
there's a lesson in that about those binoculars. Maybe keep them in a backpack
yeah.
or something, you know, because those are hefty items usually.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have the big old fellas, but
I do.
yeah. So, and that can be throwing off your balance too, you know, sort of hanging you forward or something. So
Yeah, maybe.
keep an
And
eye on
then,
that.
and then on the more positive side, we have been visited by a great horned owl for the past few days, sitting in a tree right like a few yards from me right now. And it keeps moving around the different parts of the garden. So that's really fun.
That is very cool. I think it's a good trade-off.
Yeah.
Little chest bruise, but a great horned owl. Yeah,
Yeah, I thought so.
it's a reasonable trade.
Pretty cool.
Sheila, you're muted. Janona, you're muted. Sheila, it looks like you're trying to say something, but bottom left. Everything you need to see is, yeah, there you go. What's up?
I had a fall last week and I have a fractured rib.
Ooh.
Oh,
So
wow.
some of the movements were a little painful.
Yeah.
Is there anything you can do about the rib?
No, they don't, just have to wait for it to heal.
Yeah. Place your hand on it, you know,
Yeah.
give it
It's
soft.
the lower rib.
Yeah, just give it soft attention, you know, and breathe lightly, but into the area. And, you know, they've done studies. I was hearing a doctor talk about it, and he was talking about the placebo and the nocebo effect. So they're saying what they found in studies is that just if someone thinks that a pill they're taking, you know, the placebo effect is the pill that is going to possibly do something, there's a response. But the main thing is that the opposite is also true. Like thinking that it isn't going to work actually makes it work less, right? So the point being, placing your hand on the rib and bringing your mind there, actually, and thinking like, oh yeah, you know, that probably would bring more awareness and blood and warmth, and like thinking of how if you got an injured area that you can engage with it. Like the point about, you know, Karen saying, is there anything you can do? Well, the doctors maybe you're saying now there's nothing we can do, but to think like, you know what, yeah, I spend a little extra time just kind of rubbing the area and sitting and breathing and picturing the fact that it's going to suture up, you know, engage with it.
Yeah.
And that makes it maybe less depressing and give you more actionable steps to take.
Yeah.
Because
blood
yeah,
flow
some
alone.
movements are not available. Go ahead, Karen.
Blood flow alone is going to be good for it.
That's right. That's right. And there's scientific examination where they see you put your attention. What did I say today? Yi Dao, Qi Dao. Where your attention goes, Qi goes and follows everything else. Nerve awareness, blood, the brain's awareness of the area, you know? So just that idea and being open to the fact that it's worthwhile exploring that, like saying, I'm going to, yeah, just pay attention and maybe place these warm hands on the area or whatever, right? So something to play with.
Yeah, it makes you have a more sense of control over what's going on in the body.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're engaging with it instead of just waiting around and hoping,
Mhm.
you know? So,
Thank you, Otto,
yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
and everyone else.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Kathy, Janona, anything?
Nothing.
Nice.
Great week.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye all.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.